Stunted growth caused by lack of nutrition is a common condition among children in many areas of Africa and Asia. Its effects typically become permanent, leaving its victims with diminished height and weight, at greater risk of illness and premature death, and reduced mental development. Stunting has always been related to inadequate feeding practices and poor maternal nutrition.
The children of women who are stunted are more likely to be at risk for chronic diseases. They're also likely, if they are daughters, to produce children of their own that are stunted.
But studies now show that stunting can be caused by lack of basic sanitation. In these studies, comparing children in India to those in Africa, stunting is more prevalent among Indian children, even though they are generally better fed, and poor sanitation is blamed for the difference. In India, there is growing recognition that protecting children from stunting and from a wide range of infectious diseases will depend on major improvements in sanitation nationwide.
The name of the slum is Indra Kalyan Vihar. You have to be careful here. It is situated in southern Delhi. As you see, the drains are open. Generally, people here come from neighboring states looking for better job opportunities and get settled in these congested clusters. My name is Shamaila Khalil, and I'm working as a program assistant with Save the Children India. The water from the drains is clearly getting seeped into the pipelines, and they would be using this water for drinking. The water in the slums is not available regularly, and so whenever they have the water supply in the slums, it's like a celebration, it's like an event. At the same time, these children are given the assignment to basically fetch water from the nearest source and collect it and store it here. The water that they are using for the household activities is also contaminated. They are not even aware of this contamination. The average family size is 5 to 6 members, live in these small 8x8 rooms. They are living in a small space, and so there is no space left for the toilets. As a result, families, they go to the community toilets that are there in the slums. खुश हैं आप उससे?
जो है वही उसी में ले जाएंगे.
Her name is Saroj, and she has been living here since she was 7 years old. She is using the community toilet complex that is here in the area, but she is not very happy with the conditions in which the community toilet is, but she has no other option but to use it. But at the same time, they go for open defecation.
We have a country of over 1 billion people, and just under half of those people do not use a toilet. 595 million people are going outside every day to defecate. And so all that poo in the environment is affecting not only the health of children, but the health of everybody in the country. This is something that's gone on for generations. It's entrenched in caste, in gender, in social status. A child in India learns how to squat, learns how to go outside and open defecate. A child's hands go into feces, feces go into mouth, and we have the whole process of ingesting excreta once that's in the gut, a child cannot really tolerate infections and keeping a healthy life.
So this drain behind us, it runs right in the middle of the slum. A lot of people residing here, they throw the garbage into this drain. As a result, the drain, this big drain also gets blocked. And it is not very regularly cleaned. We also see that in the houses that are on the either sides of the drain, they have these temporary toilets in their houses. The fecal matter comes directly into this big drain.
Growing up in an environment where fecal matter is more accessible than it really should be means that there's a greater propensity for what is called environmental enteropathy. So basically, a disruption of gut function, which then results in stunting. About 40% of India's children under the age of 5 are stunted, which means they haven't reached the appropriate height for their specific age, either by age 2 or by age 5. And this has long-term consequences for their ability to go to school, their ability to hold down a job. There is a segment of government that believes that perhaps the stunting problem in India is not really an important one because maybe Indian children are genetically prone to be shorter than other children. But that's simply not true. Children of Indian origin growing up in parts of the world where there is access to sanitation and to good nutrition are able to grow to the same extent as Caucasian children or African children. So there is simply no excuse for ignoring the problem of stunting in India.
The community health volunteer came across this case. The baby has been constantly underweight and malnourished. The mother was not sure that the water that she was giving to the child was safe or not.
We have to make them aware of that. Children up to the age of 1 year at least 1 year, should be given boiled water.
Exposure to fecal matter in the intestine causes an inflammation, and the surface area that is available for nutrient absorption is reduced, which requires, the system to fight this chronic inflammation rather than to grow.
The mother was not even aware that her child is not well. Mind your head. Pooja, आपका उम्र कितना है? मेरा. This mother's name is Pooja, and she has been living in this slum for the past 10 years now. She has 4 children. The youngest happens to be 19 months old and is severely underweight. So Pooja is concerned about why her children are not growing, despite of the fact that she has been taking proper care and she has been giving good food to them. I explained it to Pooja that the energy that they are obtaining from the food that they are eating is being utilized only to fight the infection, and they are left with no energy to be utilized for their growth.
The stunting problem in India represents the largest loss of human potential in any country at any time in history. Now, that sounds like a bold statement, but the fact is that more children are born in India each year than have ever been born in any country, 27 million children. That's larger than the largest birth cohorts in China. And if 40% of that 27 million children are failing to reach their full growth potential, that's a staggering loss that has global implications. It's not just an India problem, it's really a world problem.
We're heading out of Delhi to a village somewhere southeast of the city. My name is Sangeeta Vyas, and I'm the Managing Director for Sanitation at RICE, the Research Institute for Compassionate Economics. At Rice, we focus on doing research and policy advocacy on things that affect child health. 70% of Indian households are living in villages. The area that we're going to, people live more centrally, all collected together, and then their plots of land are outside of the actual village. So population density can be quite high, which is important for open defecation. About 350 households live in this village, and there are people from different caste groups. This is Nick Hill, and he works with our organization, Rice. We're in the lower caste area of the village, and we learned from him that some of them were traditionally the ones who've had to do the work of manual scavenging and manually cleaning feces. Castes are hereditary, and it sort of defines what your occupation or your job in society is going to be. And so you're born into a caste, and particular jobs carry with them elements of purity or pollution. Namaste. He was just telling us a little bit about his family. There are 4 people in his family. They've been living here forever. He has 2 sons, and they do farm work. We were asking him a little bit about his house, and he told us that they do not have a toilet. They all go defecate in the open in the fields. A lot of people in the higher caste part of the village, a lot of those people had latrines. So we asked him whether it would be good or bad to build a latrine near his house, and he said, nowadays, you know, people build latrines in their homes, but then he started talking about the government program. The elected village leader has built these government latrines for people, but he says he thinks that they've sort of cut corners in the construction and the pit is smaller than what it's supposed to be. There's a government latrine next door. He says the pit is about 2.5 feet deep. It definitely looks like it's not used regularly. In fact, here we have gobar, which is used for cooking fuel, and it's very common for latrines like this to only be used in an emergency. People really don't want to use simple latrines because it requires being periodically emptied. We asked him, you know, how they would clean it out if it got filled up, and he responded that who would come to clean it. The bottom says, Rukdam Swachhata ki or.
A step towards cleanliness.
That was really a fun wedding party that we got to be a part of. We've conducted 2 different types of studies on people's attitudes and beliefs around latrines and latrine use. What we've learned is that it has a lot to do with caste and a lot to do with India's unique history of untouchability. So what that means today is that cleaning up human feces is considered to be very socially degrading and is associated with extreme social exclusion because it means that you're impure and it means that you must be from a low caste. So we were just asking him, in which one are people healthier? A village in which everyone goes in the open, or a village in which everyone uses a latrine? And he told us that a village in which everyone goes outside in the jungle, those people are healthier. I'm asking them where people normally go to defecate in the open.
Thinking about sanitation in this country is something that people are blind to. People think it's nothing to do with them. Everybody in India needs to change their behaviours and their thinking around sanitation. There's no magic bullet answer, but it's finding the trigger in communities, whether it be dignity, pride, aspiration, to actually get people readily accepting the change from open defecation to toilet use.
To reduce the open defecation, we need to have access to toilet facility. My name is Sanjeev Kumar Behera. I am the program coordinator for Save the Children India. These are the showers. This is the toilet. This particular locality, people were using as the place for open defecation. We have all the messages here, how to clean their hand. When we started, there is a demand of around 300 flushing per day. After 2-3 months, we realized around 800-900 people has come up every day. Now we have started constructing the second set of toilet. Most of the toilet complex is not properly functional due to lack of timely maintenance. This is the water treatment plant. Each drop of water being monitored. People have to come with the card and get water. For using the toilet facility, people have to pay 1 rupee, which is around 2 cents in American currency. This is a toilet complex which is being managed by the community itself. These women, they have come forward, the community group who are managing the toilet. They have to use it. They are taking ownership.
This has to be an ongoing process for behavior change, for people to continue to use these toilets, for this to be the norm. It sounds like a big task, but it's been done. Bangladesh has managed to do it. Nepal has managed to do it. So this is a solvable challenge.
Sanitation in India is not simply about constructing toilets. The bigger issue to solve is actually motivating a household, a community, a society to want an open defecation-free India. So we have to look at ourselves as members of society and realise that we have a role to play.